broadly about budget priorities. As a candidate for City Council, we'd like to know what programs will you fight to save, and where do you think we might be able to find savings or new revenue streams to help balance what looks like is going to be another tough budget year?
So first thing that I would save is the street workers program, because I feel as though that is, as I said in the vote, that is the first line of defense in our fight against street violence. That needs to be a top priority in my books. And also we need to make sure that our schools and our libraries are not being shut down, because that in itself really takes away from our education of our young people, and that really hurts and pains communities and the greater and also the long-term impact of our youth as well. In terms of cuts, city services where it's privatized. I think there was one example that I put. There was the street sweepers were privatized. I mean, that can save some money as well as increasing our doing pilot reform, because it's very important to think about how our property taxes, we are paying a lot of property taxes in the city of Boston, and how nonprofits only get to pay for a small portion of it. And that's to me is unfair, and they need to take a larger role, even if it means just being even if it means taking more community involvement, but they also need to pay their taxes. That's one big thing.
Just to clarify, are you advocating for more privatization or less privatization?
Less privatization.
Less privatization. Okay, great. All right, I have an audience question here. On your answer to environmental priorities, one thing that didn't come up was Greenspace. Can you talk a little bit about what you would like to see regarding Greenspace improvement, particularly District 6?
Basically, to have bike lanes. That was one thing that I really wanted to have, to increase the bike lanes, especially near Mass Ave. I'm talking about the greater city as a whole, including District 6, because I see that Jamaica Plain has done a great job with having bike lanes, but also to encourage people to, because I also talked about a little bit about public transportation, and that corridor on South Huntington is a mess. It's full of parking. There are buses that go, the Route 39 bus that goes through there. It's a total mess. And how are we able to make that more efficient and to encourage people to not drive as much as they should and try to take more public transportation? That's more of a kind of a larger type of thing that goes on. And that will encourage more green activity. In terms of more green space, I also noticed in West Roxbury there's a lot of dogs throughout my travels, including here in Jamaica Plain, and also encourage dog parks, because that can also help our green space as well, to encourage parks.
How are we doing on time? We got some time, so if there's more questions, feel free to pass them up. Next audience question. What committees would you join, and which would you most like to chair?
That's an easy one. I think that's an easy one. Education committee. I know that Councilor Connolly is the current chair, and he's an excellent chair. He actually had a hearing today for the BTU for a hearing about the BTU contract, and I would love to, if I was elected, I would love to serve on that committee alongside Councilor Connolly. The other one would probably be elderly services as well, because I feel as though our seniors need a voice. And one of the things that I proposed was to have a monthly meeting devoted to senior issues in the community, because seniors' issues are very immediate. It's sometimes is even very life or death situation, because you're dealing with people's medication, you're dealing with people's livelihoods in terms of if the doorbell's not working, which I have heard in an apartment building. That's something that's very important and very immediate. So that would be one thing that I would have.
Any more audience questions? All right, I've got one last based on our questionnaire, and then we'll give you 2 minutes for closing. Interesting idea in your answer on budget transparency. You said we need an independent voice in city government, similar to the Congressional Budget Office. Love to hear you expound on that idea a little bit.
It's just from my point of view is that as the national politics plays out, in terms of what something costs and how expensive it is, that we need someone, an independent voice, so that the politics doesn't get involved into it, and things don't get spun, things don't get twisted, because we need to have some actual numbers. And I think that people that look at budgets and people that have an interest in budgets really need to have someone there to, as the president has said, referee the whole process. It's something that I would try to advocate for if we want to have more of a transparent process in our university budget.
A couple minutes for closing statement.
Well, the last thing that I want to say is, again, thank you for everyone for attending tonight. I know it's been a long day, but October 19th is the election, and it's very, very important to everyone to, again, have a voice and make your voice heard in our election, because it's the first time in 10 years that there's going to be a new counselor in District 6, and we need to make sure that we vote, and whoever you vote for, you need to vote. And but thank you so much for coming, and I hope that I have your support.